Hey, it's a Sunday night. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to have our Las Vegas Triathlon Club Sunday edition. And this is
Oh,
great to have Justin Thornley on tonight. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Tri Club, and I've got Bob Gamble here, ambassador. Why do I keep saying that, Bob? You're a board member of the Las Vegas Tri Club. Hi, Bob. How's it going?
used to be ambassador.
That's right. That's right. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. Had a great workout today. Great ride.
Awesome. That's good, good, good to hear. And tonight we're going to get to know Justin a bit better. I've known Justin since he started racing here in Las Vegas, and it has been such a pleasure to watch him improve every year. And we'll talk about some more of these things, some other things he's doing on top of triathlon. And he's just having such a great endurance career that it's going to be a lot of fun talking with him. But before we get going, and I'm pretty excited to get into this. I'm going to turn it over to Bob for the official introduction.
And hey, folks, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing well tonight on our Sunday night version of the Thursday night member spotlight. But we have Justin Thornley with us tonight, and it's really fun. The first time I met Justin was in our last club race, and Justin was coming into the transition area, and I thought, well, this guy isn't even part of the race because he was so far ahead of everybody else. I thought he's not one of our group. So it's like it was just amazing seeing how fast this guy was riding. Justin's got a 4:18 70.3 under his belt, which I mean it's like I'll do the bike portion in that. But anyway, it's great to have Justin with us tonight, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. If you look at his race report, what's really valuable about his race reports is he put the nutrition down. So I'm going to be picking his brain a little bit, how he did that. And so it's really good to have Justin with us tonight. He's young and he's got a whole lot of potential in front of him. And we're looking forward to talking to him. So welcome, Justin. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Do you have a good workout today or this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, so yesterday was like the last kind of big day before St. George. So 2 hours on the bike and then, a good off the bike run with some intensity. And then today was just, 70-minute easy run. So yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing too hard, but it was just always nice to get out there.
Nice. We can talk to you about your taper too. So you got taper planned this week?
Yeah, I mean,
all
it's
laid out.
pretty light. I'm, working with my coach and just doing what she's telling me to do. So, and just sticking to her plan.
And the St. George, this is the exact same course you did in May, right?
I think the run, yeah, I mean, I did the course in May, but I think the run's a little different. I think
and you had a really good race in May as well.
Mm-hmm. I like the course. It's good. It's hard. So, it's got lots of hills. It's hot and just kind of plays to, my strength living here. And then I've always liked running hills and biking up hills. So
You like to climb?
yeah, I like to climb.
Well, let me jump in. I don't want to deviate too quickly, but you say you love running hills. You run the Black Mountain route quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, I'll just hit it up and just run up and down.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, Black Mountain is the mountain to the south of Henderson, and it's the highest mountain in the McCullough Range, and
Yep.
it is a really hard hike, let alone run. So,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
cool.
I've seen you up there, Justin, actually, because my wife and I go up there all the time to the Park Peak and to the right and Black Mountain to the left.
Yep.
And there was some crazy guy flying down the trail, and I'm thinking that was you.
That very well might have been.
I
Gotta
love
be
it.
careful, don't break your ankles.
So
Yeah,
just, I want to get to the World Championship, but I also want to hear your story starting in triathlon because, again, I know you from, having a swim background, but can you tell us how you got started in the sport and when?
yeah. So I swam like all through high school. I swam a year collegiately. I really loved swimming, and I really loved swimming in college, but I didn't love just like the team dynamic that I was like the team that I had. It was just very, very cliquey, a lot of like interpersonal drama. That's just not my style. And so I was like, I made the hard decision to not go back and swim.
Okay.
So I stayed in town, and, I needed something to occupy my time and something to pursue athletically. And, it makes a lot of sense because I ran cross country my last 2 years of high school,
Mhm.
and I was varsity on Coronado's cross country team.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm okay at this. I'm okay at swimming. And like, what's the next step? It's triathlon.
Let's
So
grab a bike and see how we can do.
yeah, and I knew I was gonna love it before I did my first race. Like, I bought my tri bike, which, right over there.
Nice.
Like, I got my Trek speed.
Wait. Let me see that again.
Yeah.
That's my bike.
Oh, do you have the same bike? The green?
The Speed Concept. It's got the exact same color
Oh,
color scheme. Cool.
that's too funny. It's a great bike, but I got
Yeah,
that
it is.
bike before I even did my first triathlon. Before I even
cool.
rode a bike again, since like I was a child. So I knew I was gonna love it, and I dove right in.
That's awesome. So when was the first triathlon? Which race was it that you were doing?
First one was Rage in 2014.
Mm,
Yep.
great race. All right. So how did you? So you went out and got the bike, because now how soon before Rage did you actually get the bike?
I'm pretty sure I got the bike in March.
Oh
So
wow.
You had a month on that thing, huh? Did you bomb the hills in the aero bars, or were you on the cow horns?
I was petrified. I was so terrified just riding my bike. I was like, when I got that bike, I was like, what have I done? I felt like I was like on a spaceship for the first like couple months. I was like, this is too fast. That bike just accelerates like crazy. You're like, you get on, you pedal a few times, next thing you know, you're 20 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And like, it took me a long time to get comfortable on it.
Oh wow. Well, walk us through that first race. Because obviously with the swim background, you weren't worried about the swim portion. But then again, a lot of swimmers don't necessarily make great open water swimmers. So tell us about maybe a little bit of your prep, and then about that first race.
Yeah, I mean, so I was definitely just a newbie, and just kind of, I didn't have a plan for training, and I just, I swam as much as I could, and I didn't have a good plan. I just stayed active. It was like, I think the majority of my training was, I was a lifeguard at the time, so I'd swim like after my shift,
Mm-hmm.
and just, do a couple thousand, and then I'd run like 5 miles every day.
Wow,
Just
that's good.
without fail. Is just, that was just my routine. I got back from, I got back from college in like 2012, and then for like a year and a half up until Rage, I just run 5 miles every morning or afternoon, or just whenever I could get it done, and then just swim after my shifts as a lifeguard. So I kept it pretty simple. Not a lot of thought went into the training. It's just, you got to get stuff done, stay in shape. So
whenever you did your first triathlon, did then it tell you what you needed to work on, and did you change things up?
The story on what I need to work on hasn't changed a lot. It's pretty much, you need to get better at cycling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the theme throughout my, 7 years of doing triathlon.
Well, yeah, that's great that you can, take a step and look at where you're at. But, you're at such a high level right now as an athlete. I love to hear this first story though, because one, you weren't really preparing the way you are now for triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
But walk us through it. What was that first experience like, and how soon after you finished that race did you sign up for your next one?
Oh yeah, I mean, so the first race, I mean, the swim was great. I just got in the water. My swimming's gotten worse, as I've gotten further removed from my, 20-hour weeks of swimming, right?
Yeah.
Like the best I ever was at swimming was probably in 2014 for triathlon. Pretty much since then, it's just been maintaining as much as I can, because you just can't match that volume you have in college, right?
No, you have 3 disciplines. I mean,
Yep.
good grief, you can't.
So like my swimming was super good, and just flew through the swim, got on the bike, and the bike was always a struggle. When I ride, I don't ride very steady. I'll just smash the hills and just try to recover in between them. and then the 5K, just, hang on as best as I can. And that's probably where I've gotten, the most improvement, is just, getting stronger on the bike and letting myself like run better afterwards. And
Pacing a little bit on the bike.
yeah, just getting better at pacing. That race in particular, I'm pulling up the splits. Let's see. Yeah, I got second in my age group. So I mean, that just sealed my love for the sport there.
Yeah, I bet.
Getting second, standing on the podium, like having a good day. I do remember like afterwards, like going to Cane's and getting an entire caniac and just downing it. It was just like that post-race celebration. And then I know that right after that race, I immediately signed up for the Silverman in October.
Oh, wow.
You're
That's
kidding.
awesome.
You went straight to Silverman.
I went straight to Silverman. Yep.
Wow.
Now, did you do Rage with any of your friends, or was this something that you just took on your own?
Yeah, I did Rage with my wife.
Oh,
Emily.
wow.
Yep.
That sounds like a loaded question, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, she's done, she doesn't race as much as, she doesn't race as much as me, and she doesn't race as much anymore. But she did a lot of those triathlons. Like we did them together the first like couple years. All the sprints, probably the first like 3 or 4 years we've done together.
Oh, that's great. What a great story.
And we bought bikes together too.
Oh, wow.
And you did
I got
what?
my bike,
Say
she
again,
got her
please.
first bike.
Oh, you bought bikes together.
Yep. Yeah. So we were dating at the time, and yeah, we both went to the bike store and got our bikes, and was like, let's do this. And, signed up for almost all the BBSC races and just like traveled around and raced them.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I love to hear that. All right. So this is so cool to hear, how you approached that first race. Okay. So then you signed up for Silverman 70.3. And now, okay. So you went from, that was a sprint race for Rage.
Mm-hmm.
And you went right into the 70.3. Did you know what you were getting yourself into when you signed up?
Not at all. That 70.3 was a complete disaster.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, I mean, so at that time, I was not in the world of endurance sports, right? I come from a swim background. The longest I was racing was the mile. And that a mile swim, because that's what I raced in college, that gets you ready for a sprint triathlon pretty well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I had no nutrition plan. So I didn't eat anything. I just had water. I had 2 water bottles just filled with water.
Oh boy.
On the bike?
On the bike, yeah.
And yeah, and the gas, oh gosh, what was it like when you came off the bike and started running then?
Oh, it was just a disaster. Like I'd completely bonked, I
How
think
far
the
in?
bike took me like 3 something hours. So I had already bonked like an hour, 2 hours into the bike, I had bonked. And the run was just such a slog.
Yes. So let's see, that would have been, what time of year, was that the September one?
Yeah, I think it was September.
Yeah, it would have been fun. Yeah.
October 5th.
October. Okay. Yeah. So still hot. And then to try to do that on a couple of water bottles, my goodness.
Oh, it was bad. I have the splits here. I went 3:10 on the bike and then 2:03 in the half marathon.
Oh, well, that's actually really good.
That's actually pretty good.
For being under nutrition. So
it's good. I mean, it's also like it's like 20, it's almost 30 minutes slower than probably my third slowest half marathon.
Oh. Well, but see, this shows what kind of athlete you are, and that you are able to really, with a penalty against you of not having, a good nutrition plan and still do what a lot of people would still consider really well. So
Mhm.
that's really neat. All right. So
Hey,
then when you finished that one, what were you thinking about, pursuing the 70.3s? Because now you've gotten a lot faster.
I think after that 70.3 in 2014, I did not do another 70.3 until 2017.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, you seem to have figured out your nutrition really well, because I read your race report after St. George, and you got it dialed in. I mean, you were doing the gels on 30 minutes, and you ate, had one just before the race started. Like everything was like really sounded like you really got to figure it out. So
Yeah, I mean,
how did you do that? What was it that brought you to that realization of how to put your nutrition together?
well, I think I just, I got a lot more interested in the sport as just like, how do you do this well? Because like when I first started in 2014, it was a lot about just, I like doing this. I like being like a participant and, getting my medals and traveling and going to different races. And
That's the
then,
fun part. Yes.
yeah, I did the fun part, right? And I just traveled around 2015, 2016, raced with my wife, did a lot of cool races in Colorado and Utah, and did Spartan races around the country. And then 2017, I was like, I this is what happened. I mean, I'll give you the timeline. I raced, I was having fun racing. I signed up for my marathon, my first marathon, which was in December of 2016. I raced California International Marathon. And I trained very poorly for that race. I ran like 10, 15 miles a week and swam maybe a couple, like swam like 2 or 3 hours a week. And I went and did that race and I ran 2:55. And I was like, you got to take this more seriously, man. You're good at this.
That's right.
Like,
Right.
that's when I was like, you got some talent, right?
Yeah.
You need to take this more seriously and work harder. And, in 27, and after that race, I bought some books. I started learning about like how to train for endurance and how to train for triathlon. And I just took it a lot more seriously and like learned.
Can you share with us and the other people who are listening, what books that got you started that helped you?
Yeah, I mean, I have Jack Daniel's running formulas, 80-20 running, 80-20 triathlon, the triathlon training Bible. Those are all great.
How about your nutrition? Do you get anything on your nutrition? Where'd that come from?
The nutrition was, oh man, good question. I think that nutrition was probably just like a lot of just searching on the internet and then just doing it in practice.
Figuring out what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, and I've been lucky enough that I have a pretty good stomach, and I can just I haven't really had any problems where I get upset stomachs or anything like that. So I'll just I can eat pretty much anything when I train, and a lot of what I do is just try to eat a lot. So because I'm like, if you're hitting your numbers in training and you're overeating a little bit, I mean, you're going to be good race day if you're eating a little lighter. So, I mean, I think that's kind of a good strategy, is overeat a little bit. And,
Before the race.
Yeah, before the
Week
race, just
before,
in
yeah.
practice. Like in practice, I'll eat a lot of Cliff Bars,
Mm.
which, in a race, you don't want to eat a Cliff Bar. They're heavy and
Yeah.
chew a lot, right? But if in practice, you can down a Cliff Bar and a gel and a Gatorade in an hour, that's.
And you're training your gut to handle it.
Yeah, if your gut can handle that in training and you're doing less of that on race day, you're going to be good. So,
That is a great tip, and I
Yeah,
love
it is.
hearing that. So I want to take it back, just back up just a little bit here, because you mentioned Spartan, and you got down this multi-sport path, with triathlon. Where did Spartan, and tell everyone what Spartan is. Everyone may not know what Spartan is, and how did you find that sport, and how
yeah,
that.
so Spartan racing is like my second love, right? I love triathlon and I also love Spartan racing. And Spartan racing is it's obstacle course racing. It's trail running with obstacles. And the obstacles are, they're monkey bars, they're rig traverses. So there's a rig with like weird implements that you hang on to and like shimmy through. You've got, one of the obstacles will be like carry a 70-pound bucket for a quarter mile up and down a hill. And then there's there's rolling hills with like, mud puddles at the bottom that you have to run through. It's tons of fun.
That's
Especially
great.
like if you like trail running and you like getting dirty, it's just really, really fun, really, really cool sport. And it's also got a pretty competitive like age group and like professional side, which, triathlon does as well. So you can pursue it to a pretty, high level, which I really like.
Yeah, but it sounds like you just have fun stomping through mud puddles.
Oh yeah, I mean it's so fun. I mean it's a playground for adults, right?
That's
Like,
that's where I was getting at. Yeah,
uh-huh.
and I bet should you ever have kids, you're gonna be the great dad that goes out and gets dirty with the kids.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, it sounds like Spartan and triathlon really just go hand in hand. Like Bob's saying, is that you enjoy not only the mud puddle, but just the challenges.
Yeah,
And it sounds like you are really always looking for that next challenge and to dive into it and really take it on. And I love the confidence in your athletic ability because you've got a wonderful athletic base.
mhm.
And so that's neat. So where do you find yourself training for Spartan, and how does that cross into triathlon?
Yeah. I mean that's a good question. A lot of the training for Spartan is you got to do a lot of trail running, right?
Mhm.
Lot of trail running, and then you need to get your grip strength to like a
Mm.
good level.
Mm.
So, I've done a little bit of bouldering. I've dabbled in a lot of different sports,
Sounds like it.
but I've always come back to like the swim, bike, run.
Oh,
And, Spartan's really fun. And I found that, you build such a good aerobic system doing triathlons that you can throw down in a Spartan race pretty
Mm.
well.
hmm.
And
That's there's two good points I want to make. One is that you stick with all of these different sports because they're fun and you enjoy doing them. And if
yeah,
it was a second job, you wouldn't be doing it.
yeah,
So it's like
absolutely.
that's one good thing. It's like, and it's great that you're using this as a base. And it is. It's just a fantastic base.
Yeah. I mean,
Swim, bike, run.
there's days that are hard, right? There's days that,
Yeah.
you got to get out there and do your training. But for the most part, I mean, this is for fun. This is just a hobby.
That's great. Well, okay, so let's go down that path then. So, what's the best advice that you've been given in this endurance pursuit, and what's the best advice that you would give to someone starting out?
The best advice that I've been given.
We do have a lot of new members and a lot of
Oh,
young members and are just getting started. So
mhm.
to hear, you're young, but you're already got a lot of experience. So whatever you can offer is going to help the young folks and the new folks.
I mean, oh, that's a good question. The biggest piece of advice that, I'd give people is, I mean, you don't like, just don't make it a chore, make it something you like to do. And, probably my biggest struggle in just pursuing this is just like is being hard on myself when like I miss workouts or I get in a rut.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's been my biggest struggle is all, and that's a natural part of, pursuing sports and
Yeah.
pursuing an endurance, an endurance sport is a high level. You get burnt out, you get worn down. And, I think most of us that pursue this sport, like we want to get better
Mm-hmm.
and, we take it pretty seriously. And, when we have, bad performances or bad week of training, we can really like beat ourselves up
Mm-hmm.
mentally and be really hard on ourselves. And I've just been really trying to just not do that.
That is
That is a
really
great point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there are enough people and enough things going on in life to wear you down. You don't have to do it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, take it easy on yourself.
Mhm. And I find if you take it easy on yourself, like the training comes a lot easier.
Hmm.
That is a really great answer. I mean, that's fantastic advice, Justin.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I don't pick up on that with you at all because I really see you enjoying the sport, and every time I see you racing, you really do a fantastic job. But just it looks like you're having fun. But your swim background, I know swimmers are notorious for lots and lots of workouts.
Yeah.
And so that is probably ingrained in you with with doing different with staying on a routine, but you do lots of different things, which is really neat.
Mhm.
All right, so okay, let's get into next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the World Championships around the corner. This is going to be a fun race. It's in your backyard. You've raced up there a lot. Like you said, the run course is a little bit different. So the first time they're doing it this way. What are you going to be focusing on next Saturday?
Yeah. So, I mean, my big focus is just biking within myself so I can run to my potential. And that's the focus of the day.
Yeah, that's great.
Like I don't really have a time goal. I definitely don't have a placement goal. I'm hoping to hold 225 watts on the bike.
Nice.
And that's the biggest goal. Hold 225 watts. Don't go up Snow Canyon at 280
Uh-huh.
and blow up. It's just hold those watts, be conservative, and then run the best, half marathon off the bike I can.
That's great, and I love it. That's a great way for people to hear how to approach a race like this because no one's done the course yet, so we don't have any benchmarks. But to not have a time goal, but to have a goal like that is that's smart. That's smart racing.
You got to have a process goal, not an endpoint goal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working on your process. That's smart. A smart goal.
So what comes after what comes after St. George? What's in your sights?
So after St. George, I'm right back at it and doing Oceanside end of October.
The October one? Okay.
Yeah. It's not the race season I would have built, but it's the race season I was handed because of all of the deferrals. So I would have liked to, do Worlds and then take a little break. But going right into Oceanside, and then I'll take a break and probably shut it down for the rest of the year and just train.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 2022. I mean, I don't have anything on the calendar yet, but I'd like to do 370.3s and perform really well. And potentially do a full.
Okay.
It's something I've been thinking about, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I wanted to do Alaska, but it sold out before I could even register.
Oh, it's sold. Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I know we had a lot of chatter here in Las Vegas about doing the Alaska one. So that's cool.
I was gonna sign up. I think it was the Wednesday after registrations went live. I went to look and I was like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for this, and it was sold out. And that's the one I really would have liked to do.
Yeah.
That would have been a really cool race.
So that's interesting. So what are your favorite races to do that you've done? Which one did you really enjoy going to each year?
Favorite race is Victoria 70.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like that flat bike course?
Yeah, good flat bike course, and then it's just like that nice. So the run is around the lake on a dirt path.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's all shaded. It's really nice. It's it's kind of funny. I really like racing, where it's cooler.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Getting away from the heat is so nice.
Yeah.
Well, you have Indian Wells coming up in December if you want a cool flat course.
Whew. I've done
50,
a race
40, 54 degree water. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'll ever swim there again.
That is a cold one. Okay, so you've done a lot of races. You've progressed from really your first race to what you're doing now. Just curious as to when you look back on these years, what has been your proudest moment? And I guess include Spartan and events in that as well. What do you look back on and say, wow, I'm really proud about that?
So I'll give two of them. One of them triathlon, one of them Spartan racing. Probably my proudest race in triathlon was, this is a good race story. So this is a fun story. My proudest like race performance would be the Ironman 70.3 St. George in May of 2018.
Okay.
So that race was on May 5th, and I'm a tax accountant. That's my profession. And if you know tax accounting, we're really, really busy until April 15th.
Yeah.
Right? So I trained so hard in the midst of busy season for that race. And
Wow.
like I'm talking like I'm doing 2-hour bike rides from like 8 to 10 p.m. And then
Wow.
getting up the next day really early to get to the office and get my charge hours in. I'm running like every lunch break and just taking taking a shower in the parking lot with like a water bottle that I brought. Like I'm just like really focused, and training is very hard. And I go to that race and I go 4:32, which is just a phenomenal time. I ran 1:30
Wow.
that course, which was just really, really cool. So that race was just amazing. And I was super proud of that. But what makes that story great is because a week later I got married
Oh, how cool.
to my awesome wife.
Yeah.
We ended up, just because of how the scheduling worked, I had my bachelor party, the evening after the race. So my bachelor party was like, started at like 8 p.m. right after the race. So me and like all my buddies, we went out and, got some drinks, and just, if you've drank after a 70.3, you have one drink and you're gone.
That's
like,
right.
It hits so hard. So it's just it's like, you have this amazing race, go out with your buddies, and then you go get married, and it's such a cool experience.
Yeah, that sounds like just a really great moment, because you had the lead up that you were working on, and then
Working
all
hard.
that. I mean, that's really great.
And had the reward of your, the reward for your hard work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was
You had a really cool life is good moment.
Oh yeah, it's just such a fun 2-week span, right? That build up to the race, this amazing race, bachelor party with all your good friends, getting married to the love of your life. Like how much better could it get?
That's pretty good.
Glad to hear it.
So that's the triathlon one. The Spartan race one's a little different, not as fun of a story, but triathlon or Spartan racing. When I did my first Spartan race, I thought I was, what would you call it? Like, I thought I was just hot shit. When I did my first Spartan race, I was podiuming at most of like the local triathlons, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. And I wasn't the most humble guy when I was just kind of thinking about myself. So I go to the Spartan race and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do so good here. And I go and I literally get like 100th out of like 150.
Yeah.
And just get my butt kicked. I like fail all these obstacles and get all these penalties. And it's like a 5-mile race, and my average pace is like 15-minute miles. And it's just not like the athlete that I was not prepared for that race at all.
Right.
And that's probably why I fell in love with the sport and wanted to pursue it really to a high level, is because I got my butt kicked so hard. And that race was in 2016. And then in 2020, after like 5 years of working hard at improving my running and improving my obstacle racing, I got my first like elite podium in Spartan race at the Arizona race. And like I podiumed at it, and the podium there, you win money, you win cash. So
Wow.
not very much. I got $100
That's right.
check, but
Yeah.
that, oh man, I broke down and like just cried on the,
Yeah.
you know, on the ground afterwards. Cause like, oh my gosh, I did this. I
Yeah.
achieved the goal that I've had
On the
for
podium.
5 years.
And, you know, this is so neat to hear these two parallel experiences in triathlon and in Spartan, where you started off rather humbly, and now you've reached this really high level. And so those are great, proud moments. I really like both of them. I especially like the St. George one because of the life experience and getting married. Justin, this has been so great talking with you. I love seeing you at races. I always like catching up with you, but this is even great, you know, for me to learn more about you. So thanks for jumping on this call. This is really
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
will be
thanks a
at more
lot.
races, I promise.
Say again?
Oh, I will be at more of the club races, I promise.
All right, good deal. Look
No, it
forward
was
to
great to have you at the last one, and boy, you really smoked it. That was great to see. And again, I have really enjoyed watching you progress over the years, and it is so neat. I am really going to have fun watching you in St. George. I'll toe the start line with you, but it'll be easy to spot you with your hair, and so
Yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
thank you, John. That means a lot. You know, it's really cool when you know, we'll do one of the races in St. George, and on the drive home, I'll be like, you know, John came up to me and he was like, he said, it's really cool to see me, really cool to see me progress. And I'll just be like, I think that's so awesome to hear. So it means a lot.
Well, you've been a constant in these races, and it's really been neat. So I'm really happy for you of where you are, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where you're going to go. But thanks, Justin. This is great talking with you.
Yeah, great talking to you too.
We'll see you in St. George.
All right.
Good luck. Good luck, Justin.
Thank you.
Race well next week.
Will do.